The recent flurry of hurricanes hitting the U.S. and subsequent flooding has heightened concern about the lack of flood insurance across the country, as well as its subsequent impact on the U.S. economy, with an estimated 53% gap in flood coverage. The cost to fix damage from Hurricane Helene in late September and Hurricane Milton in early October is expected to be in the tens of billions of dollars, and much of it will not be covered by insurance. Many American homeowners do not realize their insurance policies exclude cover for flooding, while climate change has increased the number and length of extreme weather events and the chance of floods occurring. In states such as North Carolina, floods were caused by Helene's heavy downpours, yet very few people are able to claim for the damage to their homes. We only require people who live in flood zones to purchase flood insurance, and so many people who are living outside of those areas don't ever even consider it. But in reality, a lot of people who flood don't live in flood zones. Andrew Rumbach, a senior fellow at the Urban Institute, told Green Central Banking. The National Flood Insurance Program is a U.S. program set up in 1968 by the Federal Emergency Management Agency FEMA in response to a lack of private flood insurance and is a separate policy from home insurance. While homes and businesses in designated high-risk areas with mortgages are required to have flood insurance, those outside high-risk areas can also purchase suitable policies. Knowing exactly how many homeowners at risk of flooding have flood insurance can be difficult, as there is no centralized public data system. And with insurance being regulated on the state level, the system is fragmented. Researchers and advocates have been calling for data on insurance coverage to be made public, but so far collection is only voluntary and some major states have opted out, meaning there is a huge gap in data. David Burt, founder and CEO of investment research firm Delta Terra Capital, estimates that of the 3.1 million single-family homes in FEMA-designated high-risk flood areas, roughly 1.6 million have flood insurance. But there could be as many as 3.3 million homes outside flood zone areas which are nevertheless at risk of flooding, he said. Of those, only 1.4 million have coverage, leaving an estimated gap of at least 3.4 million U.S. homes at risk of flooding and yet are uninsured. The insurance gap has really reached a point of fatigue, according to Burt. By his estimates, there is an insurance gap of almost $30 BN a year in overall homeowners insurance coverage. It translates to about 18% to 20% of the U.S. potentially underperforming by 20% to 30%, or roughly $1.2 TN, in add-to-value losses. For those communities, it might feel like the great financial crisis all over again. It depends on how gracefully, I guess, we can make those adjustments as to whether this escalates into something that's damaging like the great financial crisis was, he said.